All right. Hello. I am John Beckman, Professor John Beckman, Dr. John Beckman, the father of Elaine. Ich bin John Beckman.
Ich bin Elaine.
Guten Tag.
Yeah, guten Tag.
Okay, let's do Elaine's oral exam on materials from the first 3 lectures of kid biology. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay, you got to speak loud,
Okay.
Okay, so what this is called an oral exam. It means I'm going to ask you questions about each topic and see how much you know about it and see what you do not know about it. Okay, so these are concepts we've already gone over, and I need to test your knowledge. Okay, so what is an atom?
An atom is basically it's like electrons, and then it's an electron, and then in the middle is the nucleus, and then inside is neutrons and protons.
Very good. Okay, that's correct. That's what an atom is. What charge is an electron?
Charges a electron.
Is it negative or positive?
It's negative.
What charge is a neutron?
Positive.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
A neutron is positive?
Wait, no, neutrons are uncharged.
Good.
I thought you said nucleus for a second.
What charge is a proton?
A proton? Does it have no charge?
You said neutrons have no charge.
Then
What charge is a proton?
Positive?
Be clear. Definitive answer. Yes or no. What charge is a proton?
The positive.
Good. Good job. Good job. Okay. Okay. Can you name some atoms?
Okay. Hydrogen is...
Hydrogen. Very good.
Oxygen.
Oxygen. Very good.
Nitrogen.
Nitrogen. Very good.
Helium.
Good. Helium.
I'm thinking of another one. Sulfur. Is that one?
Good. Very good. Okay. Next question. What are molecules?
Molecules are when atoms combine, or
Good.
when atoms come together.
When atoms come together. And when they come together, they form a bond. What's a chemical bond?
A chemical bond is where they share electrons.
Very good. This is good. You're acing the oral exam. Okay, so we got molecules. Okay. What's the periodic table of elements?
Is it when it's a bunch of different types of atoms?
Very good. So all the different atoms that we know to exist are classified within the periodic table. Very good. Okay. Okay. Take the pen.
Okay.
Draw a water molecule.
Water molecule.
And label the atoms. Very good. Now write the chemical formula for water.
Is it?
No, that's the electrons. That's how it's sharing the electrons. So the chemical formula is H2O.
Oh, okay.
Because there's 2 H's and 1 oxygen. So maybe next we should cover chemical formulas.
Okay.
This tells you essentially how to draw the molecule. Okay. Very good. Okay, why are water molecules special?
Because it's polar.
What does it mean to be polar?
It means you either hate it or you love it.
Good. And what does it mean in a chemistry context? So this is a broad definition of what it means to be polar to try to help you understand. But what is the actual chemical definition of polar? So I don't think I actually taught this. I'll teach it to you now.
Okay.
This is the broad sense of what it means to be polar. The chemical definition of polar means that the oxygen holds on to it like hoards the electrons. It holds on to more of the electrons. And so the oxygen is partially negative and the hydrogens are partially positive. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So remember how electrons are negative.
Mm-hmm.
If the electrons want to be around the oxygen more often, the oxygen is more often going to be negative. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And if the hydrogens want to give away their electrons more often, they're more often going to be positive.
Okay.
That's what it actually chemically means to be polar.
Okay.
And because parts of the molecule are negative and parts of the molecule are positive, that causes other molecules to either love it or hate it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Very good. We know all about water, okay? So we've discussed multiple molecules so far. We've discussed 3 main important molecules. And before I go on to add more molecules, write down for me the molecules that we have discussed, that we know about.
We know about water.
We know about water. That's one type of
We
molecule.
know about phospholipids.
Good. Write it down. Phospholipids.
How do you spell phospho?
PHOS PH O, and then lipids, LIPIDS. Very good, phospholipids. And what's the third one?
Proteins.
Very good. Very good. You know all 3 that I've taught. So now we can learn about more after this.
Okay.
Okay. Now describe for me, let's focus for our attention for a little bit on phospholipids.
Okay.
Draw for me kind of like what a phospholipid looks like, and how are they special?
Are they like the ones that like?
Yeah, they kind of look like that.
It's not a perfect diagram, but it's good enough.
Okay, and what happens when you mix phospholipids in water?
And so when you mix these in water,
Yeah.
it combines like a sphere. That's a horrible sphere.
They can come together and make a sphere. What's the name of that sphere?
Cells?
It is a cell. What's another name for it?
It's phospholipid?
A vesicle.
A vesicle.
Vesicle. But this is actually just draw out for me more detailed over here. Draw out for me more detailed what that layer of the sphere looks like.
Okay, so basically, this is probably going to be not the best.
No, this is good. Why does it form that structure? So that structure, it has a name. Do you know what it's called? So this structure that you drew, you're absolutely correct. This is called the lipid bilayer.
The lipid bilayer.
Okay. Why does this form? Why does a bilayer form?
Well, it forms like this because the top layer likes water, the bottom layer likes water, and it forms so the ones that hate water doesn't get to the water.
Very good. So this part of the molecule hate water, and these parts like water, and so they shield the part that hates water away from the water. That's why it forms. Very good. You got that all right. Very good. Okay. Okay. Let's see. So let's talk now about proteins. Can you describe proteins?
I'm thinking.
Or something
It's
about
like-
proteins?
I mean, it's a molecule.
It's a molecule, that's correct.
I think it's made of 20 amino acids.
Very good. They're made of 20 amino acids. These are like the little pieces. And amino acids themselves are also molecules. So amino acids are molecules that make more complex molecules, which are proteins.
Okay.
Very good. What else do you remember about proteins in cells?
They do stuff.
They do stuff. They're sort of like the verbs.
Yes.
Very good. You remember. Excellent. Okay. Functions, amino acids. Okay. Describe for me the 3, or actually, there's actually 4, but describe for me the 3 that you know, the 3 levels of protein structure. I want you to try to draw it. The 3 levels of protein structure.
First layer is where it's like a bracelet kind of.
You could call this beads on a string.
Beads on a string. And
What are each of those beads?
Amino acids.
Amino acids. Very good. And what is the line? What's the string?
The string is like Is it the electrons? Maybe?
Yeah, that's the chemical bond.
Okay.
They're connected together through chemical bonds, and that's when they're sharing electrons. Very good.
Okay.
Okay, so that's the first level of protein structure. What's the second level?
The second level is where they form into shapes.
That's one. What's that called?
The swirl.
The swirl.
The swirl.
The swirl. It's called, what is it called? Alpha?
Alpha lipid?
No, it's not a lipid. It's an alpha helix.
Alpha
I'll give you half point for the
Okay.
swirl,
Yeah.
but it's not a swirl. But you drew it properly. It's
Okay.
alpha helix. What's the other one? What's the other type that they form?
The other one's it's like a flat. It's called a flat sheet.
Beta sheet.
Beta sheet, and it forms just like a
It's hard to draw, but it
Yeah.
looks more.
yes, that's a way better diagram.
It looks more like this. This is a beta sheet.
Beta.
Okay,
sheet.
so you got sheet and you got swirl, so I'll give you that.
Okay.
What's the third level?
I'm thinking what the third level was. Is it where they both combined into the shapes?
Yeah.
This
It
is
makes-
not gonna be a good
It's hard to
diagram.
draw.
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying, but you're correct. These two shapes come together to form more complicated
Yes.
structures that look kind of like this, right? And
Yeah.
this is called tertiary structure. And
Tertiary structure.
tertiary structure. You could also call this sort of folding.
Folding. Okay.
So it's like origami. If you take a piece of paper and you fold it, you can actually build complicated shapes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's very much like origami. These are 3 levels of protein structure. Now I might as well teach you the 4th. There's only 4. Was one more level that I did not teach you, which is when multiple proteins come together to form like a bigger machine. So if you have a protein A and a protein B and a protein C, they can come together and they can form a more complicated machine. Does that make sense?
Yes.
It's like imagine a machine with multiple little pieces.
Like Legos.
That's called quaternary.
Okay.
Quaternary structure. Quater is quad is 4.
Quaternary.
So quaternary, the 4th level of structure, is multiple
Okay.
proteins associating together. Very good. Okay, let's see. What grade do we get? You got them all. That's an A. That's an A plus. So 100%. Very good. Excellent work, Elaine. Okay, now we can move to the next stuff. Very good. But we'll stop for today.
Yeah.
Very good. Oral exam.
Yay.
We're going to teach you complicated molecular biology.
Okay.
You're on your way to your first PhD. Very good.
Like and subscribe.
Hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Yeah. Oh.